Good evening to everyone tuning in. This is just going to be almost a season preview, solo season preview. But of course, everyone put their comments down below, and we'll have a discussion about the upcoming the upcoming Premier League season. Let's go live on Twitter and get this show on the road. Good evening. Welcome along to Wednesday evening. It is dawning upon us. The Premier League season is almost here. We're just over 48 hours away from that opening match between Arsenal and Coventry. And obviously, Fulham are a part of the Premier League. So we need to talk Fulham ahead of the new season. Haven't done a live for a few days for sure, just over a week. So we're going a little bit quiet transfer wise, but it doesn't mean nothing's happening. There's definitely going to be some deals that happen before the end of the window, whether they are in or out. Obviously looking forward to the new season. This is obviously a massive transition for Fulham to go from one manager to another. And whilst we're live tonight, which could be for an hour, could be for 2 hours, hopefully we get some Fulham news as well. The Arnal Martinez stuff is a little bit complicated, but as I understand at the moment, it doesn't look likely because Fulham just haven't really made the necessary contact with Girona to get a deal done, which suggests that they have eyes on other targets as well. 6 o'clock on a Wednesday. It's obviously the middle of the week, so why not celebrate halfway through the week by tuning in? And let me know your thoughts below. Where are Fulham going to finish this season? How are things going to go under Alvaro Arbeloa? And what are you expecting in terms of who's going to win the title, who's going to finish in Europe, who's going to go down, and where, of course, are Fulham going to finish? And do those questions overlap? Will Fulham get Europe? Will Fulham win the title? Will Fulham go down? We're here to dive into that today. Pre-season is now finished. It is done. There is no more games for Fulham to prepare for the season. It's only the season now. It's only the Premier League from now until, I don't even know when the last game is, the end of May, I'm guessing, around about that time. Fulham start the campaign at home in the West London derby against Chelsea. They then host AFC Wimbledon, and then they go away to Sunderland as well. It's a hectic start to the season, and yeah, I think it's going to be a very exciting one. Let's look back on the Stuttgart game as well and talk about the latest rumours, because there aren't too many out there right now. There was a bit that came out from Santi FM yesterday, obviously a really good French journalist. But on my end, it does feel a little bit like this has been a quiet week because Fulham did have quite a busy period getting Palacios and Garcia and Charles over the line. And it doesn't obviously look like that Fulham are going to be able to get in anyone that's going to come in straight into the game against Chelsea. Even if Fulham were to sign someone before Monday, it would feel a little bit too early for a player to come through and go straight into the starting 11. Last night we had a really good event. People have been asking that, how does that come about? It was for Riverside season ticket holders only. It was an event I didn't even know about until I was invited by the work I do with Sleeper, which was great. Sleeper, who I do TikTok work for, was obviously a really good event. Great to hear from the players and the manager as well. And it was just a good event. And apparently they do that yearly. I didn't know that, but there was one last year with Marco Silva, etc. So this isn't like a new thing, but it was great to be invited. Very grateful. And now we have, well, I mean, it's going to be full speed ahead. The plan tomorrow is that the Fulhamish podcast are going to be recording their season preview. I am going to be on that podcast as well. I was then meant to be on Talksport from 4 till 7, like in studio, which would have been really fun. There's been a slight change of plans. Apparently, the producer has gone ahead and already selected someone else, even though he told Sammy to try and find someone. And when he texted, I said, yeah, I'd be down for it. So it is what it is. I mean, it's not that deep. It means that we have time to do a West London sport podcast as well tomorrow in the afternoon as well. So plenty of preview content to come from not only myself but Fulhamish as well. And then, of course, Friday is the press conference, 10 o'clock in the morning. So with a new manager comes a new schedule, different ways. Marco Silva was very much 1:30 Fridays or Thursday, 3 o'clock, whereas Arbeloa, it seems like he wants the early press conferences. And to be fair, the earlier, the better. I think I know we've had a few early ones under Silva when the game was midweek or was a tight turnaround around Christmas time, etc., etc. But essentially, 10 o'clock in the morning allows you to not have your day so broken up. It means that you can sort of be back from the press conference at midday and just continue from there. Get ready for the embargoed section as well. Gives you more hours to prepare for the embargoed section as well. So yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens on Friday. Obviously, have spoke to Arbeloa after the game against Stuttgart, and have spoke or heard him speak last night as well. So obviously, I think there'll be some similar questions that are going to get asked on Friday morning, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing what he has to say, and then we will get into the nitty gritty of the season, and I'm sure every possibility is out there for what could happen for Fulham this season, and I'm sure it's going to be very, very interesting. I cannot wait. Spurs are working on a deal to sign Marmoush and Savinho. Crikey, that's come from David Ornstein. That is obviously pretty bold from Spurs. Obviously, the Community Shield was at the weekend as well. Arsenal beating City pretty easily, to be fair. Here we go. He's just tweeted it now. Double deal. That's pretty mad. I want to first off just start by saying massive, massive thank you to those who have subscribed to Patreon over the last few days. I haven't been pushing it out, but I obviously should be doing that more. I know I keep saying that, but those of you who have subscribed to Patreon, thank you so much. There is now, I'm glad, by the way, that there is more competition on the market. I'm glad that we've gone from a time where basically the only Fulham outlet you would have in the last 10 years would have been Fulhamish, right? And other Fulham Focus and That's So Craven, stuff like that. But 10 years ago, when Fulham were in the Championship, it was just Fulhamish. And 10 years later, we've got all these outlets, all these podcasts, and all these subscription models as well, which has obviously been quite recent this summer. Dave Kidd and FFN doing their own paid subscription. This is my third season doing it now, and I'm really, really happy with how this summer's gone in terms of the people that are on board and the type of content that I've planned for the season. Really excited for it. What I will say is, if you are a free member and when you go on my link and it gives you the option join for free or join for a $5, you think, oh, I'll obviously join for free. If you join for free, unfortunately, you just don't get to see any of the content. I think maybe you get a little bit of a preview of what the content is, but it doesn't give you the full benefit of what's offered, which means in order to access that, you do have to pay the £5 a month. But of course, given this is my livelihood, this is my job, I would greatly appreciate it if you upgraded that to the £5. I know a few people have, once I've sent out emails saying that that is the case if you're a free member, because we've had so many free members join, which has been great, and to transform them over to paid members is obviously the goal, because then they get to see the content. And you have now got a plethora of 3 different outlets who offer paid subscription for Fulham, and they all offer something very, very different, and I think that's good because it complements everything and it covers everything, which is great. FFN just transfers. Dave Kidd, more of the writing side of things, again, either from Pressbox or from the Hammersmith end. And of course, he is a coveted journalist. He's been doing it for more years than I've been alive. And then I do a bit of both, a bit more audio, a bit more video style, but also every game covering, every press conference covering, transfer news, etc., interviews with players, etc. So yeah, it's still definitely worth subscribing. And I want to say massive thank you to those who have come through the door in the last 10, 14 days. There's been a good surge in people, and I couldn't be more grateful. The links, you know where they are. They're in my bio of everything. They're pinned in the YouTube chat as well. So subscribing would be fantastic. And it was great to we celebrated 10 years of Fulhamish on Monday night. It's been been a pretty heavy week so far, but it's been very, very, very good fun, and it was fantastic to see a lot of old faces, new faces, current faces, and fans as well. My girlfriend's trying to call me. I will not be able to take that call at this moment in time. Oh, everyone's commenting on YouTube. There we go. I should be looking at the YouTube comments. Excuse me. Welcome along, everyone. Thank you very much for joining, and let's get into some Fulham chat. The Stuttgart game, 1-0 on Saturday, was a good game. It wasn't the best game you'll ever watch, but it was definitely interesting to see how Fulham went forward. And I thought they created plenty of chances. They should have scored way more goals. Let's go through some of the comments now. A lot of pundits are predicting we'll be going down. Personally, I don't get it. I'm quite excited for the coming season. Again, everyone saw, well, not everyone, but if you saw my tweet last night, that was that video I did, I want to say 2 weeks ago now. Again, it was people, wanting to say, what they wanted to say, but yeah, it was very evident that I was getting more and more wound up by what people were saying, because there was no real substance behind the point they were making, apart from the easy, they don't have Silva, Arbeloa has come in, blah, 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 blah. And it's just incredibly lazy. And who knows, they might be right, but I didn't feel as though they gave a valid enough argument for me to be like, oh, actually, I'm quite worried. I mean, I have my own tiny, tiny worries about how this season goes, mainly about if we don't start well, we could obviously be playing catch up. But ultimately, with the football we play and hearing from the manager last night, and I'm sure we'll hear from him on Friday, I feel fairly confident that Fulham are going to have a good season. And I think maybe did the round table with Fulhamish go up today? If not, it would have been tomorrow. So yeah, please do read that when it comes out. That'd be good. Why does every say we're going down? We'll be fine. Yeah, I mean it's just people's opinion, isn't it? I can think of. I've already come up with my 1 to 20 predictions. I'm doing a piece right now for Patreon where I sort of talk about every single team and what I think, and I'll be publishing that hopefully tomorrow or Friday. Now I've got bit more free time because I'm not on that Talksport show anymore, which is, I suppose, a blessing in disguise. 14th first season, still no centre back. Well, we still have 3 or 4. Sorry for interrupting you before the Stuttgart game, Jack. I reckon we'll finish 8th and surprise people. I would love to finish 8th, and I think that might even be a European space depending on what happens in the cups, etc. No, honestly, the Stuttgart game, I was blown away with how many people were coming up to me and chatting with me and asking for photos. I mean, it felt like I was Hugh Grant. It was quite insane. But really nice to talk to you, James, and I'm sure we'll catch up again. Oh, thank you, James, for the subscription. I did mention it to him, to be fair, and I appreciate subscribing to Patreon. That is really good. I'm almost up to a bit of a target of mine for the start of the season. I think I'm about 10 away. So if we get 10 before Monday's game, that would be fantastic. And of course, we will be going live on deadline day. That is 100% happening, because I do feel as if, given the bits and bobs that I'm hearing, is that I think Fulham will be going late into the window. But obviously, this is not like I can't believe we're leaving it so late sort of thing. It's because the amount of business we've had to do, we are doing. It just naturally means that at some point things are going to drag to the wire. But I think Fulham are in a good space, and it's so refreshing to hear that Arbeloa is like really happy with the business. He's really happy with the board. It's something we haven't heard in years. I mean, even Savisi Kanovic, he had his issues, etc., etc. But it's good to hear. It's good to hear this. Thank you, James. I really do appreciate that. Evening, JK. 1 a.m. here in Hong Kong. Unbelievable. Thank you for staying up. I wish we had some transfer-ish news to talk about, apart from Arno Martinez, which doesn't seem to be going anywhere at the moment in time. But yeah, maybe while we're on stream, we can have something to talk about transfer-wise. Looking forward to the new AA era. Let's go. I'm getting really excited now. I think that pre-season does I love preseason. Don't get me wrong, but it does drag on a little bit. You get you sort of every game you're trying to take conclusions from, and then you sort of hear people say, "Well, it doesn't really matter." I think it does matter in terms of performances, and we've definitely seen the performances over the last well, how many games we've played in preseason. They have got better and better, to be fair. And I think that if Sander Berger's goal goes in, which was in, by the way, and we won 2-0, or Bob puts one of the chances away, we win 3-0. Let's say we were way better than Stuttgart. It would have been a really comfortable 3-0 victory, and I think people would have felt really encouraged by that. But in the end, it wasn't. But I do think that goals will come. The amount of chances we were creating, we did have an issue under Silver of not being able to finish our chances sometimes, and that would come back to bite us. We are going to have to do that under Arbeloa because we're going to be up against top opposition from the first game. He spoke really well about last night about the awareness of the derby as well. It was great stuff. It was obviously not the time or the place to start tweeting stuff. It's a strictly private event. It wasn't a press event, so yeah, it wasn't anything like that. But it was good to hear from him and Oscar and Josh and Jorge. They spoke really well as well. They were the three players who were there last night. Let's keep on going with the comments. I think we're going to struggle. Listen, fair play. Not everyone is as confident or as optimistic as others. So yeah, everyone is entitled to that opinion. Hi Jack, me and my friend and my dad approached you and asked for the photo. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. Yeah, it was obviously great to see you. And yeah, we'll be in and around the press box for home games this season as well. So yeah, it was always good. It's always very surreal when someone asks me for a photo. Like I say, I'm not, Margot Robbie or Hugh Grant, but I do appreciate it. It does mean a lot. Do you think it's the most likely centre back signing, or do you think? Oh, who do you think is the most likely centre back signing and right back signing? Seems quite a lot of links, but nothing too substantial. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Let's go to that tweet that was it yesterday or 2 days ago? That was tweeted. In fact, it was a retweet, wasn't it? Twitter have changed their layout for retweets and posts, don't they? Here we go. It was yesterday. That feels like a long time ago. Fulham have made an offer for Natan, the Brazilian centre-back from Real Betis. The English club is also continuing discussions with Rennes for Abdelhamid Ait Boudlao. And then meanwhile, Unique Sports, which is an agency, they have proposed Leonardo Balerdi to Fulham and hopes to put forward an offer. Haven't heard anything about that since, to be fair. But I do know that Abdelhamid Ait Boudlao is the supposed number one target for Fulham in terms of the centre-back position. It did confuse me slightly about Natan because he's a left-footed centre-back, which obviously is not really needed. But I think Cuenca was saying last night how him and Bassi, they feel comfortable playing with each other, which I suppose gives me a little bit it gives me a little bit more confidence. And obviously I think they are quality centre backs anyway. I would just rather have a bit more balance. But I'm sure that will be sorted by the time the window closes. If we really we put in 2 offers so far for Ait Boudlao. I think I said this on stream. Oh, I said it on Patreon actually a few days ago. That it feels like we are wearing them down a little bit, but we're not quite there yet on an agreement. And I think that this link here for Natan is a bit of a smokescreen. Even though we put an offer in, or supposedly put an offer in, it's a bit of a hey, look, if Rennes aren't willing to do the deal, we're going to move on to other targets, and you're going to miss out on a big payday. So maybe that might be a reason for Rennes to fold a little bit, and yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I'm very very excited by the possibility of signing Ait Boudlao. From everything I've watched the compilations, he does look very very strong, despite the mistake he made against Sunderland as well. A bit more on Sunderland later for sure. Do you think? Oh no, we've done that one. Yeah, I do think that a centre back is going to be the priority because of the depth needed. We already have 2 right backs, and by the way, Castagna is playing pretty well. He's had a good pre-season. And I think right now on paper, I think Castagna starts on Monday. Absolutely, that is, I believe, what we should do. He's played the most recent games in pre-season. Kenny Tete obviously played in the morning, didn't they? Didn't he for the others? But if you really want to showcase your team in front of the fans, he's picked Castagna. That says a lot. He obviously scored, had a strong game as well. I don't love Castagna going defensively, but going forward, he's got so much better. Whereas Tete defensively is the stronger right back, one-on-one defender, and he's still a good threat going forward. But it's good to have this competition because it was largely like for the last 2 or 3 seasons, it's been very much a case of, well, if Tete is injured, Castagna's just going to have to come in, isn't he? But I feel like they're now getting a little bit more level in terms of their abilities and the way that they're being perceived by fans as well. The other JK and GG doing their FPL team on the latest socials. I need to, they literally, I think they just published that as we were as I went live, so I'll have to watch that afterwards. Josh King is a lovely guy, and I'm warming, or not warming. I really like Gonzalo Garcia, but every time I see him sort of do an interview or speak to someone, or when he did his interview with the club, he just seemed like a really nice guy. Very happy to be here. So yeah, I got a photo of you before the Stuttgart game with me and my friend Rowan. I have black hair and my friend has blonde. Yes, I remember, and I appreciate it a lot. It's a very lovely thing to ask, because I'm not a celebrity or anything like that, and I really do appreciate it. It does make me feel it's obviously like a very nice thing. And people who, is that true, Cameron? You made a GIF out of the reaction. I would please do send that over. My brother sent this to me last night. He must have watched the video. I have no interest in watching it back, to be fair. And he sort of clipped it up and he sent it to me. And I was fairly well oiled. It was the end of the night. I was on my way, literally about to walk through the door, and I thought, oh, that is actually quite funny. So, and that I'm aware of the the Coventry fans' former allegiances. Let's just say I was aware of that before I even met him. So, there's an embargoed question coming up. I'll get to the bottom of that. Love that shirt. Wish I had bought one. Yeah, wasn't this there was about 2,000 of them made, and they have like their own number on them. I don't know where it is. I haven't worn this in ages. Oh, here we go. Aisle number 245. Oh yeah, 1879. 1,879 shirts. I'm on number 245. I remember that coming out during the 1819 season. Felt like he had to get it. I do like it. Very nice. Going to wear a shirt for the podcast tomorrow as well. I'm going to have to go through the collection and find a good one for sure. Good afternoon from North Carolina. Good afternoon, David. Hope you're well. W. Jack, thank you very much. Nice top, looks good. Thank you very much. Here we go. Hi, Jack. Why are parts of press conferences embargoed? Who or what stipulates what gets embargoed? Okay, right. This question comes up a lot. I'd love to just address it, and then hopefully people will have an understanding of it. Right. So there are broadcasters and there are writers. So the broadcasters are TNT, but mainly Sky Sports, Premier League Productions. So if I say PLP, Premier League Productions, right? Other smaller broadcasters like Haters, who I used to work for, who I used to up to press conferences with a camera with, ESPN, etc., etc. But the main broadcasters in England for the Premier League are Sky Sports and TNT, and usually the camera is there for Sky, right? And they have a reporter for Sky. So the first part of the press conference, let's say it starts at 10. What time does it start? 10 o'clock, right? On Friday. The first 15 minutes of that press conference, 15 to 20, because Marcus Silva, it was usually 15 to 20 minutes because he loved to give long answers, which is obviously great. That is for cameras on. So my phone, when I'm recording as well, cameras on. and Sky's cameras on, etc. Maybe there'll be Reuters there, or there'll be a PA. They might be there as well. An odd week, cameras are on, and everything gets broadcasted. So, like, when you watch Sky Sports News and you can watch press conferences live. I mean, not every single presser is live. It just depends on the fixture, it depends the timings, etc. You would imagine that our blowers will be live, but then again, it just depends on the other managers, right? So you can all see that. That's all published. That will go on the Premier League production feed and available. Those quotes are available like that, right? So it's usually like team news and it's asking about the opposition, etc., or all the key questions, transfers. Then after and radio also counts as broadcast, so Talksport or BBC, etc., who I guess will be there on Friday, right? So then once all those questions are done, cameras turned off. We're told, please turn off your cameras. Now it's on for the embargoed section. Some clubs do let you keep rolling for the camera for the embargoed section, but it has to be embargoed. I think Spurs keep it on. Arsenal definitely keep it on. Anyway, Fulham don't. So cameras off. Usually the guy from Sky will sort of put down his laptop or start typing up his like piece, and then it's on to the writers, right? So there'll probably be, on an average presser, maybe 3 writers. Maybe there'll be 4. Maybe there'll be 5. Maybe there'll be 1. Sometimes it's just me, but I doubt that will happen this season as often as it did in the previous few, or previous 2, I should say. Then it will be up to the writers who have their own stories that they need to write for the Sunday papers or the Saturday papers or the Friday papers, or whatever, or Saturday and Sunday, and probably Monday as well. They ask their own questions. Those quotes are held back so that then they can call their desk and say, hey, I got a good line from Arbeloa today saying such and such about such and such. And they go, great, that's a great story, run that up. And there's just like an understanding in the footballing world, especially within the journalism world, that you all agree that this is embargoed till 10:30 of the Friday night. Maybe it's split. It's be 10:30 for Saturday night as well. Sometimes there'll be like midday embargoes if it's like a midweek game and you've got a press, and they sort of split the press conference from a post match to the preview for the next game. Marco never liked to do that. I don't know if Arbeloa will want to do that or not. Not sure yet. But that essentially is why. So if I ask Marco Silva or Arbeloa 2 or 3 questions in a press conference, all those quotes are held back for 10:30, which is why when I sit down at home after the press conference, I'm typing up the quotes or I'm transcribing the quotes and I schedule those tweets for 10:30. And I've done this new thing now where I go 2 tweets per minute so that fans can easily digest it and they're in numbered order so they have context behind it, right? So you can read it in a row and you can sort of get an understanding of what's being said. That is it. I don't know how many times. I don't know if there's a better way to. Sorry, I thought someone was going up. I don't know if there was a better way to describe it or explain it, but that essentially is it. So it gives the papers some time, the journalists some time to come up with their story, because you need a headline, you need a byline, you need an angle. So yeah, that is essentially it. That is essentially it. Where should we go from here? At the friendly on Saturday, there were a lot of Spanish fans around us in Madrid shirts. That's obviously good. If they were to wear Fulham shirts instead of Madrid shirts, I suppose that would go down a little bit better. But then I can understand the links with Arbeloa. Where do you predict we'll finish? I said it on the round table. I said 12th. I said 12th on the round table. But that might change. That was me being slightly honest, but I've also sort of given my own 1 to 20 prediction for my like friends group chat. We keep tabs on it, and I predicted to finish 10th. So I've gone slightly more bold, which is good. Clean sheet, couldn't believe it. Leno pulled off 2 excellent saves. I think he pulled off 3 decent enough saves. 2 were pretty good, and he made a 3rd one as well. But yeah, Leno was good. As Dave Kidd has wrote about, Fulham are in the market for a younger keeper to battle with Leno, who I think has got 1 year left on his contract. I think he might have an option. We've done this before, haven't we? I need to keep tabs on all of that. he's definitely got an option, a club option. So maybe it's 2 years. Yeah, that's definitely the case, actually. Hello, kind sir. Hello. Um, Hi, Jack. Love you from, is that Pakistan? Thank you very much. Yeah, made a gif out of your reaction for that clip. If you have that, you can DM me on Instagram or DM me on Twitter. That would be great. 'Cause that was, yeah. So that so-called Coventry fan does content for Man United. Summed it up really. We're not gonna go hard on that, but that is the outside perception, and I have nothing more to say about it really. What's happening with Arno Martinez deal? Um, as far as I know, because it's all been a little bit quiet today, Fulham haven't really made contact, even though that um, we've made some sort of signal to Girona that we're interested, which we were right at the beginning of the summer as well, but we haven't actually stumped up the money to pay the release clause, and there's been no contact between the clubs since that initial interest, and I think that's still the case today. So yeah, how many are we signing? How many are we signing more? How many more signings are we making? I think we will make 4 more signings. Despite us wanting 5, I think we'll make 4. Maybe a fifth, like at the last minute on deadline day, but we'll see. I think I will go with 4. I think 4 more signings, and I think they'll all come after the season kicks off. The worst thing about this preseason is no 30% discount for season ticket holders off kits. Looking forward to the season starting. Yeah, have had so many messages about this and seen so many Fulham fans put this on. This is obviously disappointing. I was a season ticket holder up until the end of last season. I used to use that discount. I'm going to close the door. My apologies. Luke is gaming and shouting about Fortnite or whatever stupid game he's playing. Irritating child. Right. That's a onesie. I should probably there. Just put that on there. Needs to see that. Thank you very much. Okay. Apologies. Yeah, I mean, the 30% off would have been nice. I suppose we just have to wait for the sales. I saw all 3 shirts last night just in the flesh for the first time, especially the third shirt. I like the third shirt. I think it's nice. I was quite tempted to buy it there and then I also thought, wait for the sales for sure. Berger seems to be playing better under Arbeloa. 100%. Managed to speak with Sander Berger after the game on Saturday. Those quotes are still embargoed because Peter wants to use them for a piece. So I'm more than happy to hold them back. And yeah, they'll be. I guess I'll post them at some point. I'll post those quotes on Patreon for sure. Just give me 1 second. I just need to take a phone call. Hi there. Sorry, I'm just I'm doing a live stream at the moment. Do you mind if I call you back later? All right, no worries. Bye, bye. Okay. Yeah, I think Berger feels much more comfortable in that position. I think he physically looks fantastic, getting involved, getting stuck in, not having to venture too far forward, of course, but of course a threat from set pieces that we saw. So that's obviously good to see. The difference between Arbeloa's positive outlook on transfers and Silva's moaning is so stark. Less pressure to try and eke out favourable deals on older players that Marco preferred. Look, this is obviously like quite an interesting quote that I've managed to pick up this summer as well. Like, look, they're 2 different managers, right? Both knew the task at hand in the summer. Both knew it was a massive, massive summer for Fulham, and you do wonder, like, how much progress do you think we would have made under Marco Silva in the transfer market? Were Marco Silva and the board as aligned as was what was said in the media and stuff? I don't know, but essentially, what it's an irrelevance now because he's not our manager, and what Arbeloa has done is come in and actually from the word go put a bit of pressure on the board, saying we need players in, etc. And it just seems to have been quite a okay, take away maybe 2 or 3 weeks of nothing, which is, I suppose, normal because you're sort of trying to line up deals. But even from the first day, we knew about the interest in Gonzalo Garcia, and we managed to get it done, right? There just seems to have been quite a smooth sailing transition, which actually is quite ironic because of how long it took to hire Arbeloa. And we were all thinking, oh, we're in for a really sticky summer here. And actually, it's been one of the most smooth sailing summers, there we go, I've ever experienced at Fulham, or for some time. I mean, yes, under Marco Silva, we got in players like Calvin Bassey and Raul Jimenez, etc., before the season started. Um, but last summer is so fresh in the mind, where we turned up to Brighton away, and the only real change to that team that ended the previous season was having Josh King starting. It felt like a new signing. Um, and now it's like you've got three new players who could all feasibly start on Monday. JKA can play on the bench, and there's going to be more coming in. It just feels a little bit more refreshing. Um, sometimes when you're in a job for a while, the relationships can either strengthen or they can start to deteriorate, and we don't know, do we? We don't actually know what was the case. I think in hindsight, without any football being played in terms of the Premier League and the season starting, maybe Marco Silva leaving was for the best. But if we've got 0 points after 3 games, there will be plenty of we should have absolutely thrown the kitchen sink to keep Marco Silva. But it's all completely an utter outcome bias, isn't it? But yeah, I'm certainly very excited about this new phase of Fulham, and I think that Arbeloa comes across brilliantly. I think he says all the right things. He's ambitious not only on the pitch but off the pitch, and I really really like where we're heading. So far so good, and we haven't played any football yet. But if he beats Chelsea, everyone said it. If he beats Chelsea, he'll be an absolute hero. He'll be an absolute hero. Um, Love Arno, good player for 6 million. Oh yeah, that's the fee, isn't it? It's not even, it's 8 million euros, which means it's basically 6.5 million quid. Why didn't you get up and talk against that commentary fan? I just couldn't be bothered. I couldn't. I didn't. The concept of that video, it's not really my style. I didn't really have it in me. To be fair, that's pretty much it. I looked fairly fed up, and I just couldn't be bothered to get up and start yapping away. Met Calvin Bassey mooching about on the Fulham Palace Road after the friendly Saturday. Really nice bloke. Was signing kid shirts too, captain material. Yeah, Bassey's always got time for the fans. He's such a good lad. Really nice guy, as you say. So yeah, really pleased he's still here. He could have been one that could have left. He's probably our strongest centre back, and really pleased that he's still here. Where are we now? So many comments. Thank you guys. Mainly on YouTube, none on Twitter, which is fair play. Just tweeted me the GIF. Oh God, I don't know how you save GIFs. To be fair, that's really funny. Although it kind of looks like it kind of looks like my eyes are rolling back into my head. But yeah, that is funny. um, Hope we get 3 or more players, then I'll be very confident. Now I'm optimistic. Yeah, and this is the thing as well. There's been a change in the mood. I think people are coming to terms with the fact that Bassey is going to start with Cuenca, and if that's the only sort of gripe you have with like how we're going to line up or how we look at the moment, I think that's not the worst thing. To be fair, um, Anderson might come in against Wimbledon just to get his minutes up. He'll be eligible to play. Luke de Fuggerol's, I think, should get minutes. Again, I think we're still waiting for a centre back to come in to get him loaned out. And Miss is going to get loaned out to Estoril, which obviously has Marco Silva links. And given that Marco Silva rated Miss so highly, you can understand that maybe Estoril gave Silva a call and went, "Hey, we fancy taking Samuel Amissa on loan. Can you tell us a little bit about him?" So yeah, Harvey Arujo today left for Burton Albion. That's a good move for him after having a couple of loans in League Two in the last couple of seasons as well. So it's starting to take shape. Luke Harris hasn't joined Wigan as of yet, but I'm pretty sure he's sort of done the medical or he's doing the medical or has been doing the medical the last day or so, but yet to be announced. Maybe one for later. Hi Wayne, hope you're well, mate. Fulham must get 2 more players in before the end of the transfer window ends. Yeah, I think 2 would be great. I think that we could probably push ourselves and get a couple more. As you saw the tweet from myself yesterday post Stuttgart, he's sort of, we are trying to get more players in and stuff, and it was referenced last night. He basically said the same thing, so that's obviously good. Any links with any players? Arno Martinez right now, and then 8 Budlau as well, the main links, and then Nadar from Real Betis as well. But again, I think that could be a bit of a smokescreen or a bit of a hurry up sort of, because we obviously know that Budlau is the number 1 target, as I said. So it will be interesting to see how that one develops over the weekend. We do need to get into a little bit more Premier League general chat as well about the other sides. Certainly think there's Natan, yeah, that's the player. And yeah, haven't heard anything about the Balerdi stuff either. But Santi Ayuna has been he's always been a very good source when it comes to French football. French teams, Liga. Right, let's go back to the comments. Out of the centre backs we've been linked with, who would fit best? And also that commentary fan is so delusional. Look, we will see what happens. I mean, they might beat Arsenal tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. Friday, which would be interesting. Like I say, a Budlau I think would fit best because he's a right side centre back. We have been after centre backs this summer who are 6'1", 6'2" plus. It's very evident that this preseason we've struggled defending set pieces. You need a dominant, you need a dominant centre back in there. And I think that given he is that target and he looks very assured for his age, probably should have made the Morocco squad. But if he had made the Morocco squad, maybe we wouldn't have seen Issa Diop. That's funny, right? We maybe wouldn't have seen Issa Diop go to the World Cup, have a World Cup that he had. Ipswich come calling. I mean, these sliding doors moments is interesting. There also is the Hector Fort stuff, isn't there? Watching Motspur Park live, training looks intense and competitive. Yeah, training has been, those early double sessions. Yeah, it does look good. It does look good. I think the players look pretty fit for sure. Jack, what do you think the chances that we end up beating Dortmund for Hector Fort? I don't think we will, because I think there's another club that's also interested in Hector Fort as well, but our name hasn't really been linked with him for some time now. So it's interesting because maybe, obviously, Bellanova, we put in an offer for Bellanova over the weekend as well. And we haven't heard anything since that as well. Maybe Arbeloa has decided that he's happy with the 2 fullbacks he's got. But it still seems as if Fulham are going to look for a right back, which sort of confused me as to why we're not paying the release clause for Arno Martinez, why we're being hesitant about that. Is it because we've got our eye on someone else? I'm sure those questions will be put to Arbeloa on Friday. That's certainly something that I would like to ask him for sure. I've read that Dortmund seem to have more interest than us, but I'm not super sure. That is what's been reported, yeah. There's been a lot of talk about a right winger. Do you think we'll actually buy one? We don't seem to be set up to play with wingers now. It's the fullbacks that provide the width. It's a good point, but and this is again, like, I wouldn't be surprised. We spoke about this last night, me and Joe Sanson, that we wouldn't be surprised if we saw Palacios start. Again, not an out-and-out left winger, which would allow Robinson or Sessegnon to play in that space. But I think Oscar Bob, I think there needs to be a second option to Oscar Bob, even if he does drift a little bit more central, because we need to sort of, have a plan B. We need to have depth in that position. If Bob was to get injured, that would be a massive problem. But it doesn't seem to be as pressing as the other positions, because we haven't been linked with many right wingers apart from Ethan Nwaneri. Arsenal say that they didn't want to loan him out. I mean, I would be in the swim for him. I think a loan out where he doesn't have to move cities, where he stays in the Premier League, would be good. However, he wants to play in Europe. He Yes, he wants to play in European competitions, which means that AC Milan and Dortmund might be more favourable towards him. So we'll just have to see. But again, I think that will be one that rumbles on in terms of that position right until the end of the window, which of course now is almost just over 2 weeks away. It's the day after the 2 days after the Sunderland game, so 2 games into the season, and then we've got Palace, and that will be that. The window will be closed a few days before that Palace game. Um, Really, really disappointing in the way Fulham have sent out season ticket packs, dropped the ball massively on the 2 sheets of paper. I haven't seen them, to be fair. All I know is that there's no discount code. A lot of pundits out there reckon that Fulham will struggle, but I'm very confident that Fulham will finish in the top 10, 100% without a doubt. Good. I also feel like we could have a very strong season as well. I mean, how many times we've said it? You lose manager, you lose key players. We've pretty much replaced, well, we've certainly replaced Jimenez. Harry Wilson, maybe not so much because positionally, but especially goal threats in Cesar Palacios. King, I think, is going to be a massive goal threat this season. Charles score. Awobi, of course, scores goals as well. Who knows? Sander Berger, who should have had a goal on Saturday. He could score goals, maybe. And obviously, you've got Bob as well, Garcia, Muniz, Smith Rowe. I mean, it's super exciting. It's super exciting. Thank you guys for all the comments. This is fantastic stuff. We'll see how long we'll go for. Out of the links from the right back position, who do you think we'll get? Well, to be fair, as I just said, like, it doesn't seem to be Fulham aren't pressing home that sort of chance of getting Arno Martinez. So, and Hector Fort is sort of out of the picture. Unless Fulham go back in for Bellanova with an improved bid, it might be a name we haven't heard of yet, to be fair. Silva back to winning 7-0 again. Is that right? Are they playing again tonight? Or was that the other day? I think someone might have mentioned it last night. 4 to 5 signings, good. 2 in defence is definitely needed. Yeah, I think we just need a little bit more depth. Sessignon seems to be covering the left back position as well, but I would again prefer to play him further forward. But because of the way in which our fullbacks get involved in the attacks, he is going to be far forward anyway, which is how he scored against Al Ali and against Malaga as well. So I would expect to see Cess chipping in with a few, and he can score with his head, he can score with his feet. Yeah, I think if Chelsea have done their homework, they're going to be looking at our wide players a lot. My real fear about that Chelsea game is, and for any game really, is playing an underhit pass out to the wide man and it gets intercepted by Amalu Gusto, Reece James, etc. And they play the ball forward to Rogers or Palmer, and our defence is far, far, far behind and has to track back. And suddenly it's on to the centre backs to sort of try and block the space, come out. Sanderberg is going to have to track back as well. And for Fulham to get in back into their shape, they're going to have to try and intercept that ball out for a throw in, or at least concede a corner or something like that, or rely on Leno to make a save. It's going to be tough against teams of serious quality. When we lose the ball in transition, that is where I think Fulham will have problems, and it's just up to Leno or maybe down to poor finishing. And you obviously get punished in this league. We've seen it so many times. So yeah, but going forward, good. If we can play those decisive passes and cut out do a few line breaking passes, cut out some of the opposition players, get the ball wide, get the ball in the box, or work it around and try and get a shot away. Great. And hopefully put the ball in the back of the net. I do think we're going to score against Chelsea. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. Here we go. Where are we going from here? Did we get a fee for Harvey? Yeah, it was. I have no idea on the fee, to be fair, but it was undisclosed. I would imagine it would probably be around 500k, maybe 600k, maybe 800k. Nothing north of 1 million, I don't think. Wait, someone's asked for a lineup prediction against Chelsea and then against Sunderland as well. Let's go with Chelsea first, and then we'll go with Sunderland once Anderson's back. That's a good point, to be fair. Benfica 7, Casapia 0 or nil. Silva behind it. Hoping that Arbeloa takes the cup seriously. I I would imagine he would. He wants to make a good impression. He's not going to fold the cup against Wimbledon for the sake of league form. I think every Fulham fan knows this. The one thing missing from Fulham's last few years is a trip to Wembley, and he will not go and waste that opportunity, I'm sure. And he will want to make a good impression on the fans. And I would be amazed if he went very casual in the cup. It would absolutely amaze me. And of course, it goes back to that Crawley game. I was there with my brothers in the away end. We went incredibly soft in that game. Very, very weak lineup against Crawley, who at that time was bottom of League Two after maybe three or four games, and we were genuinely terrible. We lost 2-0, and it was just a dreadful evening. And from that moment, Silva referenced it over 10 times in press conferences. That was when the mentality around the cups changed for not only him but the club as well. Okay, let's do the Chelsea lineup then. So I'm going to go with, and I chatted to someone about this last night, and you sort of maybe see a sense a little bit in one position. So I'm going to go Leno, Castagna, Bassi, Coenca, Robinson, Berger, Awobi, King, Bob, Gonzalo, Palacios. So Kevin off the bench. I want Shea Charles to start. I want Shea Charles to start. Wowzers trousers. I'm not going to get done by that all season. I want Shea Charles to start. However, I think Awobi is a little bit more in tune with the system. He's had more time. He's been here the whole preseason, and Shea Charles would be a great player to bring off the bench alongside Kevin, alongside Muniz, Smith Rowe, Zeppa, maybe. I mean, Zeppa might be part of the first team this season, maybe. Why wasn't Muniz and Kevin in the squad on Saturday? They played a friendly at about 11 o'clock in the morning at Motspur Park. So half the squad were there. I even think that maybe we don't know team news for that. I'd imagine Charles may have played quite a huge part of that, but because he's the new signing and fans wanted to see him, he's put on the bench with the kids for the game at the cottage, and that and that is why he got like a 10-minute cameo at the end for sure. What's the chance of getting Nwaneri? I think it will be. We won't be favourites, given his ambitions. Okay, so then the lineup for the game against. Do you know what? I think that even when we play Sunderland, and let's say it goes fairly well, let's say we win 2-1 against Chelsea, right? I think it would be the same back four. I don't think Yalki Manson being available changes it. I don't think it changes it, to be fair, because I don't think that Yalki Manson's quick enough to play in this system against top opposition, which is sad for him and obviously for our below. But I think that it could be the case. I might be wrong. I did ask him after the game, is the reason you're playing Coenca and Bassi? I mean, it's quite an obvious question, but I just sort of wanted to make sure, is that the reason you're playing them right now is because you know that Anderson's out the first game? And he said, yeah, of course, obviously. Obviously that is the case, not in like a rude way or anything, but I think he appreciated the question for sure, because it was, yeah. And I think that Anderson will start against Wimbledon, where maybe they're not so much of a threat in behind. Touch wood. I mean, you never know. But I actually I maybe would go with the same partnership until we get in another right-sided centre back. So in that case, I maybe we go unchanged. I suppose we've got the game in the week as well, so we might play Smith Rowe in that one, Charles in that one, Muniz in that one, Kevin in that one. So yeah, by the time we play Sunderland, we probably would have seen most of the players get some minutes, which is why it's good we're in that position. Jack, I saw one 12-second clip of Ike Boudlao, so now I'm an expert on him and know he's not good enough for Fulham. Well, I mean, that sums up a modern football fan, to be fair. If you're referring to the Brian Brobby goal that Sunderland scored against Rennes at the weekend, then look, I think he's better than just that. So yeah, I think. I mean, I haven't seen 90-minute games of 8 Boudlau as well, but I think there have been more impressive compilations than that 12-second clip that you saw. If we buy a right back, which right back do you think we will sell, if any? It's a great question because 95% of the Fulham fan base would be like, well, it's got to be Castagna. But at the moment, on form and in pre-season, you could argue that he's had the better pre-season out of the two of them. And I absolutely adore Kenny Tete. When we thought we were going to lose him, yeah, I'll be heartbroken if we got rid of Tete. Says NG Youth 978. I mean, it would be gutting because he's been a club legend. So yeah, we will see. And obviously, Tete can actually play at centre back, especially in build up, especially under Silva. We would play. He would be playing sort of right sided centre back in a back 3 or 5 when Fulham were in possession, and then it would be relying on Harry Wilson to get really wide out on the right hand side or Bob, and that's how Fulham would build up in attack. So he can play in that position, probably not off the ball, but when Fulham are sort of in possession, and even Sander Berger sort of dropping in as almost a third centre back when receiving the ball as well, just to start the attacks. So yeah, there's definitely options there for Arbeloa to ponder. What are your thoughts on Palacios? He played out of his mind against Stuttgart. I mean, what a player! When you've got two players like, or even three players, let's say, but let's say two players for the sake of the game against Stuttgart, where they're taking the ball so comfortably and turning away from defenders and or from midfielders and sort of dropping a shoulder and running on the half turn, right? It just opens up space, it opens up opportunity to play the pass. His reverse ball to Bob was genius. He's got an eye for a pass, and he is going to be playing defense splitting passes that is going to set through Bob or set through Kevin or set through King or Gonzalo, someone like that. And I think we're going to see a lot of those goals this season where a man gets in behind the defense because of the pass from Palacios, who's going to get a lot of assists. He is a gorgeous footballer to watch. Really, really, really silky. And don't want to ruin it, but I don't even know if the round table is out yet. But I did say he's going to be Fulham's player of the season. Is that August 18th? Oh, it is out. There you go. You can go and read it now. In fact, I'll read out my part because well, I'll read out the so final position. I said 12th. Player of the season. I said Cesar Palacios. Top goal scorer. I said Gonzalo Garcia. Best result. I said I think we hit a team with a 5-0 away win this season. I'm going to say Hull 0, Fulham 5, and then most left field prediction was Fulham will break the losing streak against Man City this season, which isn't that left field to be fair. But I was panicking for thinking of something a little bit more different. But turns out everyone said that, so we'll see. What's your dream but realistic Fulham transfers? Dream but realistic. I mean, if we're going off players who have sort of already been linked, no, because again, I didn't know about 8 Boudlau like before the summer started. To be fair, it would have been Charlie Cresswell, but obviously he's gone. He's gone to Rennes, hasn't he? I would have loved to have signed him, but that's obviously not the thing. Thiago Pitac is actually signing a new deal at Real Madrid, which is a real hammer blow because he was in the country 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago now. It feels like a long time ago. 2 weeks ago, maybe, which really made me believe that it was on. Dream signing. I don't really have like dream signings. To be fair, coming into the summer, a player that I was talking about was Charles. I wanted us to sign, and that sort of came true. I feel like maybe I've got 2 more wishes from the genie. Like a top goal scoring winger, right winger. I can't identify right now, but then I don't want someone to displace Bob. I think it's Bob's year, so he's got to be an understudy. I mean, it just shows how happy I am with the squad, really, the way it's looking. We really wanted our group chat. We really wanted to sign Suzuki. Obviously, he's on to Villa, so that's a shame. But yeah, it's hard to be put on the spot with dream signings. To be fair, we while still being realistic. We've just hit 1 hour. That is the fastest hour ever. 7 o'clock. Thank you all for tuning in. I know it's um, not the greatest time to be streaming, but we do need to sort of. I want to get on to the wider Premier League now. I mean, who do you think is going to struggle? Who do you think is going to go down? Put it down in the comments below. I don't want to give too much away because I'm doing a 20-1 piece for Patreon, and I would hate to sort of um, Rolling Typhoon. You just subbed to the Patreon. Oh, thank you, mate. What's your actual? Oh, yes, you have. Is that you, Joshua? Thank you, mate. I honestly I didn't get that notification. I really appreciate it. I mean, I came into this summer and I was like, "Oh, last summer really did peak with Patreon in terms of numbers. How am I going to get those sort of numbers again?" And everyone is sort of, and I haven't promoted it that much, but everyone's turning up in their numbers here, and it's making me feel very, very confident that and excited about the content that I'm going to make this season. Um, a boring take, but three of the promoted teams will go down. Yeah, but to be fair, yes, thank you, Joshua, mate. That is, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's yeah, putting things behind. Oh, how many times have I said it? Putting things behind a paywall. Obviously, you're gonna get a few grumbles, but because it is my full time job, which I just still can't believe I say. Yeah, it sort of has to be that way, and I think from the feedback I've got since I've started Patreon is people are more than happy with what they get for what they pay for, and of course, it just gives me more motivation to make better and more engaging content as well. So what content do you get on the Patreon, bro? Right, so you get press conference content, content at the games, especially away games. It's way better. A little bit more behind the scenes. This is what the press conference room looks like. This is what the journalists are up to. Not like badgering anyone or not, sort of, you know, disrupting them, but it's very much like a me and sort of like with my little camera and just going like, oh, this is the press conference room, and you get food reviews, of the meals you get. I know it's not it's a bit marmite. Some people don't like it, some people really like it. Food reviews definitely do split the crowd, but you get uh, sort of almost like soccer Saturday updates from me whenever a goal goes in for Fulham, half-time reports, full-time reports from the press box, post-match press conference stuff, loads and loads and loads of stuff. That's just on a match day, and then throughout the week, I am changing it up a lot this season. I feel like the content got too repetitive last season. Lots of solo work was obviously, which is fine, but and also under 21s games as well, under 21s for sure. PL2, which is going to be great. But in the week now, I want to sort of flip it a little bit and not make it like what do I think? It's what the fans think, and also there'll be previews with opposition fans or maybe opposition journalists because obviously that's the angle I want to go for. And then obviously transfer news, and then just written pieces, opinion pieces, my thoughts and feelings after a game. So yeah, plenty. Usually daily content. I mean, I like to post something at least every day, and yeah, just any other bits and bobs as well. And I do want to cover the women's team more this season as well. It's tricky with Fulham men's schedule, with the women's schedule for fatigue and stuff like that. I mean, I really wish I could do it all, but sort of, if there was two people doing this for one subscription model, that would be massively easy, be way easier, but that just can't happen, right? It's a bit of a one man band. So yeah, you definitely get a lot of stuff, and it's I just want to the contacts that I have built over the last 3 years. It's easier to get people to come on and talk about their club or the club they cover, and that's essentially what I want to do this season. Again, get the fans involved a lot more. I sort of want to do fan cams again. It's a little bit difficult because once you come out the ground, hardly anyone's there anymore. Just people waiting for the club coaches to depart and maybe get an autograph of the player. But that was then the fan cams was really fun for what it was worth. And the season was terrible, but it was fun to do. But even if the odd chance I come out of the ground, I'm not absolutely pressed for time, and a fan comes up and said, "Hey, do you want to chat about the game?" And I say, "Yeah, let's just whip out the phone and sort of have a little interview." Again, just get people more involved because I don't want to make it such a one man band. But yeah, just plenty of reaction. What's happened here? What's happened here? Oh yeah, my friend just texted me saying Tossing's now number 38, leveled down as someone else tweeted earlier. So yeah, that's what you get for Patreon, £5 a month, and yeah, just constant content, really, almost too much, almost too much, and obviously working alongside having people like Dave Kidd now cover the club as well, learning from him. Definitely not a competition sort of thing. Working together to create the best Fulham content for as a club, we deserve this so much, right? We have had years, absolutely years, of like the best thing in the Premier League. You maybe win a game, watch a match of the day, and you have a glowing review from Danny Murphy or Alan Shearer for a minute. When in the Championship, the best you could hope for was an article in the Evening Standard about Fulham, a little bit of a long read, 500 words maybe. Now you've got people dedicated to covering the club every single week, at a small price. However, like I say, these are our livelihoods. So we're dedicating our whole world, our whole schedule around this. So yeah, very exciting. I'm sorry to go on about it so much. People must be rolling their eyes. However, he did ask. He did ask. So thank you, Carl, for that. And thank you, Josh, for subscribing as well. Where were we? Oh, we did that one. Monday night is a must win for us. It's interesting to say like must win. I suppose it is a must win, isn't it? Sort of. I mean, it is a must win, isn't it? It'd be offensive to say it isn't. To be fair. I think Liz summed it up well the other day. Ari Tete's availability. Love Tete though. Jack, how confident are you that we will start to see more goals from our attackers? Palacios looks like he could be a good goal scorer too. Yeah, I mean, look, save all the goals for the season. If people were complaining that we didn't score enough against Stuttgart, it was only because we're saving it for Monday night against Chelsea, and that's going to mean more to the fans than anything. So, yeah, obviously, little bit concerned about not taking our chances. There was a couple of good saves. We were getting efforts on target for sure. Berger obviously scored. It should have counted in the Premier League. It would have counted. Joe Sanson made the point that the goal that Palace scored against Fulham in the friendly, the first one, wouldn't have counted with VAR. But in terms of going forward, yeah, we need to see Fulham score more goals. But I think we will score more goals. I think the team are gonna gel better week by week, build those relationships, and or at least we weren't like if we'd have come out of the Stuttgart game and it didn't look like we were going to score a whole 90, everyone would be like up in arms. But we looked like we were going to score for the whole game, just didn't score enough or more goals than we thought or wanted to. So yeah, do let me know who you think is going to win the league and go down. That was what we were talking about, weren't we? Would like Arbeloa to buy some players with Premier League experience. Okay, fair enough. Palace, Coventry, and Hull to go down. Interesting. Yeah, Palace. Palace linked to Galatasaray today. They want to sign Ismail Assar. If that happens, dare I say, street party. But I mean, it really is a huge season for Crystal Palace, as it is for Brentford, as it is for Sunderland, as it is for Fulham, as it is for Everton. These clubs can be shot at. Leeds United as well. Oh, yeah, it's a huge, huge, huge season for those who feel, or fan bases or teams that feel that they could be vulnerable. It's just, I mean, we can go through the fixtures on opening day and have a little prediction for sure. I just don't want to give away my 1 to 20s because it's obviously for Patreon and stuff I've already started writing, and it would be a shame to ruin it right now. Looking at our young squad, do you think we will get in a bit of experience before the window closes? I mean, this is the thing. We have experience in the squad, and if Arbeloa wants to go down the route of adding young players, which he has so far, with not much experience, but blend them in with the experience we already have, I'm fairly happy with that. I wouldn't be surprised if we signed somebody with even someone like Ethan Nwaneri. If we even signed him, okay, he's got Premier League experience. He knows the game, right? I sort of trust. Oh, I hate saying trust the process, but I sort of trust Arbeloa and his methods and his philosophy and how he sees the game. People complain all the time about not bringing in young players or not promoting players from the academy, etc. I know it's slightly different. Obviously, bringing in players of experience is important as well. But I think it's been a very good summer so far. People hang their hat on Premier League experience like it's the be all and end all. It can be in some cases, but also like a player who doesn't know the league and plays with freedom and no fear could be just as good. You know, there's been plenty of players who have Premier League experience who have not performed at Premier League level for other teams. Great result for the women's team this weekend. Brilliant. I mean, 1-0 win against Portsmouth at home. They are going from strength to strength, aren't they? Can they do a Wrexham and do back to back to back promotions? Or it might even be back to back to back to back. Let's have a gander. The Athletic put out their list of top 50 Premier League players for the coming season. It didn't include anyone from Fulham. Is that a fair assessment of the squad? Look, we are dealing with clubs, probably 8 clubs, 9 clubs who are playing in Europe, have much bigger budgets than us, etc. And their whole squads are filled with superstars, right? I don't pay attention to that sort of article. It doesn't bother me in the slightest because at the end of the day, the Athletic putting the top 50 players doesn't necessarily mean that, well, in that case, that Fulham players aren't as good as these players. They can prove it. And I would imagine, I wonder if Harry Wilson was in there. Because I think that, no one's seen Gonzalo Garcia play apart from us so far. No one's seen Cesar Palacios. In a year's time, we could have 4 or 5 players in there. But it's the sort of article that I wouldn't bother getting upset about. It's an opinion piece, etc. Everyone's got their own opinion. Fulham are pretty forgettable as a club to the wider masses, right? Not to us. So it doesn't bother me in the slightest. But thank you, Micah France, for bringing that up. As a guy who knew nothing about football until the World Cup and joined the Fulham fandom afterwards, Newcastle seem like they've been hammed this window. So they're on my down list. Newcastle. Wow. Yeah. They've got Liverpool first in the 4:30 on the Sunday. Super Sunday is looking quite good. You've got Man City, Bournemouth as the 2 o'clock option with Brighton, Villa. Now, sort of want to watch Brighton Villa. I would probably double screen it, to be fair, given its opening weekend. But yeah, Newcastle, if they start badly, they could be in trouble. Was it Brentford? They've got Spurs first at home. We don't know what Spurs are going to be like, but let's just say, imagine if they lose. Then they've got to go away to Leeds, which is never easy. They could start poorly. If Fulham could get a jump up and get a point or 3 on the opening night for Fulham, puts us in a nice position to sort of keep going from there, give us the confidence. I don't think we're going to get hammered. I don't think we're going to get hammered by Chelsea. I don't think we're going to lose 3-0, 2-0, 4-0. If it's a close encounter, if it's a 2-1, if it's a 3-2, it's a 1-0, and we're on the wrong end of it, massive frustration, of course. Fine margins, etc. But, we won 2-1 last season. Okay, they were with 10 men, but before that, we were by far the better team. They should have scored. They hit the bar from about a yard out, to be fair. But I thought we were brilliant that night. Obviously, the goal scorers who scored that night aren't at the club anymore. But it's time to, with a new manager, brings new players, brings new opportunities to be complete and utter heroes for the club. And if that's Gonzalo Garcia on his debut, if that is Gonzalo Garcia on his Fulham debut and he scores the winner against Chelsea, hold the front page, hold the back page. We have a new Fulham hero at Craven Cottage. All if buts maybes, but anything can happen on Monday. Quite literally. Wilson didn't make it. No, fair enough. This has been a fun one. Anyone's got any thoughts and feelings about where they think Fulham are going to finish or who's going to win the title, etc., etc.? And then we might call it a day. What's the time? 7:15. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to the new subscribers as well. That's Joshua and James. You really are helping me in a huge amount. What a huge amount, and yeah, I just cannot wait to get this season underway and deliver some hopefully top quality content. So yeah, as I was saying at the beginning, I was meant to be on Talksport this. Oh, I see. Yeah, James, you joined as a free member. Yeah, as I explained. Yeah, so I appreciate that. But yeah, there are some people watching. Matt Freyer, Joe Fitzgerald, Amos Gersh, Charlie Hugh, Jacob Howell, Harrison McIntosh, and no, James is obviously a paid member. If you are a free member, you just won't get access to it, unfortunately. I've put out a few emails in the last couple of days, but anyway, Fulham 2, Chelsea 2, win stream. Thank you very much. Appreciate it a lot, mate. Any names you've heard behind the scenes that haven't broken yet? To be fair, nothing like out of the nothing new. This has been a very, very, very difficult summer because of the changes that have come with the club. It means that certain people, certain uh, reputable sources that I've had over the last couple of years sometimes has changed because of a new management. Hard to pick it up from there. But hopefully in 6 months' time, in a year's time, we'll be back up. And well, I've always I'm not. I don't want to say too much, but yeah, it's been challenging, but you know me, I like a challenge. I like a challenge. Repping the 125th anniversary shirt. Oh, it's 140. 140. Yeah, it's a great shirt. Fulham to finish 15th. Struggle first half of the season, adjusting. Arsenal to win again. Fair enough. Um, just looking into the Patreon, may have to update the about section on the membership options. I have had I can't even tell you how many conversations I've had with people about this. Um, it should not say or give you the option to become a free member. However, um, Patreon is yeah, their website and the way in which they do their interface is slightly frustrating. So I'm right now on the page where like I can you can like preview um, you can preview your how it looks to consumers, right? To people who want to subscribe, and for some reason, it just doesn't give you the information. It gives a free option, which is ridiculous because from my end, it only has the all things Fulham FC option, which is why I think we are getting so many free members through the door. So it is a little bit of extra legwork. I can't even update it from my end because from what I can see, mate, is just that. It's just the £5 option. But if you can navigate your way, um, oh, if it says £7.50, that's because that's in dollars. But I have again um US, yeah. So £7.50 is the $7.50, sorry, is the conversion rate. But I have changed it all to pounds. Again, I really don't know why it says that. But if you do subscribe and you're from the UK and it says $7.50, you'll only be charged what is the conversion rate, which is probably around £5, maybe additional pence. Um, oh, does it still say Marco Silva? You know what? That's a great point. You know what? You've done me there. Yeah, let me update that now. Let me update that now. Thank you very much. Sort of things you don't really Alvaro, Alvaro, I should say. It's the sort of thing you don't actually think about, mate. So I really appreciate that because I would not have seen that. Um, and save. Okay, that should have updated now. Thank you for that. That was very helpful. And yeah, if you do fancy subscribing, like I say, it would be for you £5 per month. That conversion rate is slightly differing sometimes depending on the way the pound is set. But yeah, I'm not never gonna start upping the price £6, £7. No, 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 no. It's gonna stay £5. But thank you, I appreciate that. I did not realize that, and Marcus Silva's not been here for some time. So yeah, thank you for that. Saw you on the Zach video when you rolled your eyes at someone saying Fulham is in trouble. Do you think we can seriously make a push for Europe this season? And who do you think will be key? Good question. Obviously, I was sick to death because that was like the third video we'd filmed that day out of four. And I was so sick to death of just hearing. First of all, they put me in 17th, right? Wasn't happy with that at all. I thought it was everyone wanted to finish. No one wanted to finish in the bottom three, and everyone voted that Fulham would finish 17th. We will show them, of course. And I was just sick to death of hearing these takes. I think Fulham are going to struggle. I was just absolutely 5 or 6 hours into filming. I was just so fed up with it. So yeah, it was. I didn't actually realise. I sort of remember whenever Fulham sort of came up, I sort of like gave a bit of a look, but I didn't realise the cameras were just going to pan in the video. But hey ho. I think we could push for Europe. I don't necessarily think we will, unless we have a great cup run. I really want to be a little bit more conservative because there are people doubting Fulham. I think we will prove the doubters wrong, but to an extent where we are comfortable mid-table. And I think for the first season under a new manager with a lot of change, that is absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. No worries, not nearly as what they did for the kit price. Yeah, mate, honestly. Oh, over here. So are you from the US then? Because then that would make more sense because then you're seeing US prices. Whilst annoying and lazy that pundits talk about how we're going to be relegated, sigh in brackets. Being underdogs and being underestimated is fine by me. Means the manager and the team have less pressure. Yeah, they'll pin it up on the dressing room walls. Absolutely, 100% sure. And also, the three teams coming up, their squads, their squads are worse than ours on paper. Those three squads are worse than ours. I could probably name a couple more teams who have worse squads than Fulham's, right? People are just looking at the fact that we lost Marco Silva, we brought in a manager with no Premier League managerial experience, and brought in three players who never played in the Premier League before. Give over. I actually don't think that is the be all and end all. Like £40 free on top. Yeah, you know what? I'm part of the Fulham America group chat, and I saw a lot of messages about this, about the sort of the additional fees to buying shirts. It is obviously frustrating. And yeah, is Noeu deal over? And who would be your preferred centre back signing? 8 Budlau would be my preferred out of the ones we're linked with. And it's not over because we haven't really made a move. We're just interested. I think now because Arsenal have now publicly said their stance on what they want to do with Nwaneri, i.e. loan him out, then I think that maybe people are going to start making moves. Like the season's going to start. He wasn't involved with the Community Shield. He won't be involved against Coventry. We will probably hear something on Nwaneri, whether it be Fulham, whether it be Dortmund, whether it be Milan, in the next week for sure, because they'll want a solution to that because they wanted to play football. How refreshing was it listening to a manager praise the board and how they are acting in the market and happy with the squad? Very refreshing, very different, very positive. And I think that will be the ongoing narrative throughout the rest of the window, because I think we will add and I think we'll continue to add, which is good. There are obviously holes, but again, how many times right centre back? If we had a right centre back in new, I would be absolutely delighted with the business we've done this summer before the first game. It hasn't transpired like that. However, Bassi and Cuenca, I trust them. I trust them at least for a couple of games. That's fine. James Alcott predicted us to finish 8th. was very refreshing to see. I did not know that. I like James. He's a QPR fan, but he's very nice guy. I think we got him on the Jack and Joe show a few years ago. Might be the Jack. I think I did it with Jack J Collins. That was good fun. No Jack and Joe show this week. We'll be back next week because we're doing the preview tomorrow, and there's already been a pod out this week as well. James Alcott predicting us to finish 8th. That is great. I need to go and watch that video and see what his reasoning behind that is. It's better the way they do it this year. Buying a kit last year, I paid customs after it arrived in the US, and it was way more than 40. Having fests baked, having fees baked in is a positive, less admin costs. Yeah, I mean, like again, like I don't really know how it works over in the US in terms of um, getting parcels, delivering parcels, etc. But it does sound more expensive for the overseas fans, which is obviously disappointing. And yeah, I mean, kits these days they do cost a lot. Probably worth waiting for the sales, but people do like to get them immediately. It's personal preference. You know, I'm not going to start telling you what you should and shouldn't do. Oh, hold on, I saw this comment. Oh, here we go. Just about the Stuttgart game. Really quickly, Stuttgart is a Champions League club. They got fourth in the Bundesliga last season. They are a very, very good club. Yeah, and we beat them 1-0 and we did very, very well. Yeah, I see. Sorry, I didn't mean to miss your comment there. But yeah, absolutely correct. I mean, if we're taking on Champions League teams, okay, they started probably better than us. They had a couple of good chances. They maybe could have scored. But overall, we were so comfortable and dominant in large spells of the game that never really felt there was a massive, massive threat. But of course, you know, they've done very well to get in the Champions League. I do think that Chelsea will be a bigger test and a more difficult game. I'd even argue to say that Sunderland might be the same as well. No disrespect to Stuttgart whatsoever, but the Premier League is just a different animal in terms of the competitiveness. And going to the Stadium of Light, which of course we did win there last season, but the atmosphere was ferocious up until, of course, Raul scored a brace, and then suddenly everyone piped down. And then Iwobi scoring the third goal definitely did seal the victory, which was fantastic. That was one of my favourite aways of last season. And will you be there as well? I know there's an absolute pain in the ass to get up there with the trains. Oh yeah, I keep getting asked to join these FPL fantasy leagues. I'm just not going to do FPL this year. I last year set it up, and like always, after 2 weeks, I'm just not interested. I play on Sleeper. It's the US version. It's way better in terms of a draft. It's more competitive within the league. There's more money on the line as well. I've been asked by a couple of people to join their leagues, but I genuinely haven't set up my FPL team. And the main reason is because I can't think of a good name for my team. That's not the main reason. Said this in a few chats ago, but I didn't think you saw. Oh no, I mean, sorry, I did see it. Yeah. Champions League club. Yeah. Do you feel like the 2-0 earlier had them feeling like job was done for the 1-0? Do you think the 2-0 earlier had them feeling like the job was done? Oh, as in like the first friendly? No, I mean it's a separate game, separate players playing separate minutes. So there were two individual games. It wasn't like an aggregate thing. It wasn't this or that. Yeah, it was just completely different. So I think it was just about giving everyone minutes. Obviously, it's probably better that the first team who was on display at the cottage, which I believe are below or think that are below will have a very similar 11 against Chelsea. They managed to get the win. That's obviously great. But I would have liked to have seen maybe like a cameo from Kevin or a cameo from Nunez just to see what they're about for the last friendly. But this is what we've done 2 years in a row now. I remember turning up to the Frankfurt game. Team News came out, and again, there's like whole wave of like, where is everyone? And then like as soon as Team News came out on Saturday, I was like, they've done that thing again where they play earlier. That's fine. Saw that United signed Belieber. That means they're out of the burger, right? That would mean, yeah, absolutely 100% correct. That would definitely mean that they are not after Sander Berger anymore. James, thank you so much for the £5 donation. Really appreciate it. Deadline day, which was one of my favorite days of my whole career so far. We're going to go again, of course. Now, obviously, I was so excited for the January deadline day, right? Woke up in the morning, Went to bed knowing that Pepe was going to get done, and then woke up in the morning very early, like 7 in the morning, 6:30 or something, and the deal had already fallen through. And I was like, well, there's no point going live, is there? I think I went live for an hour to talk about the Man United game, which was the day before. Was not in the mood to talk about that, given what had happened at Old Trafford. Um, and then, yeah, just had to end it there because Fulham were done with their business. There was nothing going to happen. I would imagine that Fulham are going to be active right up until deadline. And if unless there's real strong indication that there's just nothing going to happen, we won't do it. However, obviously, I just obviously think we're going to be doing something. So it means we're going to do a mega live stream again, probably 7 to 8 hours again. Yeah, lots of electrolytes, water, and food to get us through it after last year's complete and utter drought when it came to no water, no food at all, really. So yeah, join us there. That was obviously brilliant for the stream. The Patreon got loads of attention as well. So for the few who have signed up during this live stream, I appreciate it so much. You're going to love the content, and if you don't, then I'll have to up my game, won't I? So thank you so much as well. Let's go. I'm really enjoying this conversation. Keep the comments coming. I have no ties this evening. This is just my. Well, I thought I was going to be busier than I off grid tomorrow than I now am going to be. But at least tomorrow we got the podcast to film, like I say. But yeah, I'm happy to go for as long as possible this evening, and then of course we will. I think the plan is to do a live stream Tuesday after the Chelsea game. Would it be evening? I suppose it just depends on the result, doesn't it? If we've won. Hello, Jack. Which player would be the next QPR style signing? I don't really know what you mean by that. QPR style. Do you mean like a player who was signed on massive wages and is not very good? Is that what you're talking about when they were obviously in the Premier League and they were on had like Rio Ferdinand and Samba and players like that at El Traps? Yeah, so Tuesday will be post Chelsea. I plan to stream something after every single game this season. I want the YouTube channel to be really consistent. By the way, subscribe to YouTube because it's completely nutty free. Mostly what you'll see here is live streams. You might see the odd like interview or part of an interview, which is mainly on Patreon, of course. So keep your eye out for that as well. Champions League for Fulham, I can hear it already. I would love that. Also, have you seen Valencia signing Pablo Maffeo? But people still saying they're still interested in Arnau. Could you elaborate further if you have any insight? Yeah, so when this all came about last night, I was obviously at the Fulham event at the Riverside. Sort of got to grips with what was going on. Essentially, Fulham, we thought, had like a clear run on Martinez because they were signing this other right back. But it just turns out that Fulham haven't made the contact to Genoa that they were expecting, and therefore it seems to me that they're not absolutely pressing 100% away for this deal. Sort of leaves Martinez in a bit of a situation, but again, it's a release clause. It can be triggered like that. So if Fulham do want to pay up the money and they do contact the club, it can be done just like that. So it feels like it's obviously a position we've been looking for, a right back, but it would feel fairly easy to complete. It's funny we get no comments on X, but all of them on YouTube. I suppose it's just that sort of night on Twitter. Not much is going. If this was more of a transfer stream, I think there'd be a little bit more interaction from Twitter. But essentially, this is just like a season-ish preview where I'm trying not to give away my proper thoughts about every single team. Like I say, because I'm saving that for the subscribers of Patreon because I've already started writing it. And I don't want to ruin. Not that it's the be all and end all, but yeah. I see. I'm seeing. Well, you know what? Let's just let's just keep it going. Michael Owen has us at 18th in his Premier League prediction. I want this man to be no more. Yeah, I mean, look, it's there are if you start analysing everyone's individual predictions and their takes and get frustrated or upset by it, it's just a complete and utter waste of energy because at the end of the day, it's just their opinion and we know this club and how we play and the ins and outs of Fulham more than they do, more than the pundits know. Through obviously podcasts and journalists who cover Fulham, they have a better knowledge, let's say, of the club than pundits who do surface level research when it comes to non-top six teams, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm not really gonna switch this stream off, read Michael Owen's take, and start getting really angry. It just does not bother me whatsoever, and it shouldn't bother you. Um, it's just banter because people are saying that we'll get relegated because Fulham are doing QPR style signs, which we're not. It's complete nonsense. I haven't heard that comparison, but also I just do not care, and I'm sure our beloved does not care about the outside noise when it comes to Fulham. Um, there are 38 games. We're going to win some, we're going to lose some, we're going to draw some, and hopefully we end up with enough points to keep ourselves in the division. And then people will be like, "Yeah, Fulham are a good team." Obviously, if we finish 17th and we just about scrape through, everyone's going to be like, "Well, they got lucky, or they were a poor team." You want to be a solid Premier League team, and the football we've been playing, I am confident that Fulham will be a solid team this season for sure. Do you think Alvaro will give our academy boys a chance? I'm tired of seeing our boys get transferred. I think the right players have left. I think Harvey Arujo was so far down the pecking order compared to Amissa and Nsassi and Defugrols that felt right. Amissa being loaned out feels right. Again, Fulham are looking for centre backs to bring in. Defugrols might not even make the cut. He might even get loaned out as well, which seems to be the idea that Fulham have right now. So it doesn't surprise me too much. You need these players to get first team experience, right? And if it's not going to be with Fulham, because it's very, very few who manage to break through into the first team, i.e., like a Marshall Goddo, a Josh King, etc. Yeah. So I think he'll give academy players I think when Ridgen comes back, I'd love to know his thoughts on Ridgen for sure, because he's probably the next one coming through. Zeppa's played a huge part in preseason, JKA, etc. So yeah, I don't think it's a case of he's not going to give any. I think he'll give players a chance for sure. If he thinks they're good enough, then I think he will, and that's obviously going to be exciting. Zeppa played last night for the under-21s. We beat Aldershot on pens. It's a competition that the National League Cup is not one that I have too much interest in. They're obviously quite hard to get to because they're all away from home as well. It's the Premier League International Cup, PL2, the FA Youth Cup for the 18s. That's obviously the big ones for sure. And yeah, that's what I'll be covering for Fulham for sure, for Patreon for sure. Being a pundit, Bob and Sander will help Fulham to Europe. I believe Europa League. Good. I will believe you if you believe in. Then I'm fully up for the Europa League. I would love to do it. Being a pundit is an absolutely ridiculous job. Hell, I could be a pundit and say the most popular opinion. I think there's obviously a player perspective from it. When you've been a player and you've played the game, you can sort of give that sort of insight. But when pundits are asked to give predictions and you don't agree with them, then you might come to these sort of conclusions. But I think there are a few pundits who I think have just sort of don't sometimes say things for the sake of it. But I do think there are some really good pundits out there who offer some really good insight, and I happily listen to their takes because I like what they have to say. Even if they criticize Fulham, it's fairly rational. They do their research, but you can blatantly tell when a pundit hasn't done their research. And yeah, it sticks out like a sore thumb. To be fair, watching Match of the Day or watching Sky or something like that, it's fairly obvious. To be fair, but the good thing about it is the reporters who work for Sky and work for PLP who come to the press conferences are pretty on the money when it comes to Fulham. And I've never sort of sat there and disagreed with anything that they've said or the way they've asked a question. I think they've been brilliant. And so long may it continue. Hey mate, hope you had a good birthday. Oh, thank you, mate. It was good fun. I've seen we are being linked to Natan, Belerdi, and Budlau. Who are you liking the most out of the three? Budlau, we've been linked with him for a few weeks now. Natan, I think, could be a bit of pressure on Rennes, perhaps, because As I said earlier, he's the one that I think Fulham are going after. He would be the one who costs the most money and is the number one target. And then the Balerdi one is interesting because it's not Fulham going after this player who I think plays for Marseille. It's an agency saying this player is open to a transfer, would like to come to the Premier League. What do you think? So again, and it all could be very much like, let's try and unsettle Rennes a little bit. Let's try and put some pressure on them, which is why this sort of Barca have lowered their asking price from 20 to 15, said FFN. To be fair, I haven't looked at Twitter for a few hours, so that might have been said. And if it has, then maybe Fulham will get in the swim for him. Troy Parrott is going to Real Betis. Just having a look through Twitter at the moment. Nothing too interesting here on this Wednesday evening in terms of. I mean, actually, right at the start, wasn't it, that Ornstein said that if you missed that, Ornstein said that they're working on a double deal, Spurs, to sign Savinho and Omar Mamouche. That would be something. That would be interesting. Certainly, I think Mamouche is better than Solanke. So, slightly different profile of striker, but certainly would be interesting. Oh, Alexander Wright, thank you very much for subscribing to Patreon. I must have missed that. Thank you very much. This has been it's every time I get a new member, it's a real buzz. It's a real adrenaline rush. So thank you so much, Alexander. I hope you enjoy the content. Yeah, I honestly, I am blown away. I have a target I want to hit by the season starting, or maybe let's say the window closing, and yeah, we're well on our way to hitting it. I appreciate the support. I know there's a lot of competition out there right now, and yeah, it just means you've got to up your game. You've got to be better, and I'm really, really, really excited about the season. So thank you so much to Alexander and for everyone who's subscribed. Not only today, in the last 3 or 4 weeks as well, there's been so many people taking an interest, and it's just it's. Yeah, so grateful. I'm so grateful. Honestly, it's the best job in the world, and there were times last season where I was really sort of having to soul search a little bit to try and up my game a little bit. When you're in the sort of the midst of the season, there's so many fixtures and there's so much going on. You sort of do drop the ball here and there on certain bits of content you want to do because the turnaround is so quick. And I'm just not going to allow myself to do that at all. And that's the thing, you're trying to balance work life, social life, being in a relationship as well. It's tough with family as well. So but I am really obviously committed to the cause. And I just think that, again, when you have a manager that's been there for such a long time and you're getting very similar sort of answers in press conferences and similar quotes after games and stuff, it's always good to have a refresh. And I think that this has intrigued a lot of people. I think there was a little bit of a dip last season because people were getting slightly frustrated with Silva. We don't know how the season's going to go, but at least what we do know is that it is new and it's exciting and it just brings way more interest. So I'm not surprised that people have subscribed this summer. And I'm really, really, really grateful for it. It means a hell of a lot. And how many times I can say it, but I just want to hammer it home. And I'm going to come off this stream with a big smile on my face because it's just a great job. It's just fantastic. Some more comments. Any idea who will be starters out of Charles, Berger, Iwobi, Palacios, King, and Smith Rowe in a potential only 3 to 4 central berth in the starting 11? Will be interesting to see. With Siestro also linked. Yeah, that would be interesting. Look, what you want is competition, right? You need competitiveness within the squad so that they can fight for their place and play the best football they can to try and win the manager over. As has been said, the fullbacks are key. So, especially on the left-hand side, I don't think there's a massive pressing. Even though we have started Kevin in games, I don't think that there's a massive dependency to have an out and out left winger, which is why Palacios is sort of that perfect player who can drift, receive the ball there, but also go inside and play balls to King, etc. I think for now, the three, like I said, who I think will start against Chelsea, Iwobi ahead of Berger, King ahead of behind the striker Garcia, and then it'll be Palacios off the left, but sort of coming inside, similar to how he lined up against Stuttgart. But of course, we'll have injuries, and across the season, Smith Rowe will have to come in. Shay Charles obviously will come off the bench, and all options for Fulham, and different combinations will work better than others. But it just feels like the midfield's got because under Silva it was just Berger Lukic or Berger Iwobi and one of King and Smith Rowe. That was it really, and now it's possibilities. King could play wide or wider. Palacios could play wider. Smith Rowe can play in the 10. Charles can probably even occupy that position, even though he can play deeper as well. Crystal Palace have rejected first proposal for Galatasaray for Ismail Assar. What a shame. Palace want to keep Sarr unless a huge, really huge proposal comes to the table. Doesn't surprise me. Not really that groundbreaking that Premier League club wants to keep their best player ahead of 2 days before the season starts. And who do Palace start up against? They've got Man City on match day 2, haven't they? The second game. Palace are away. Who are they playing? Everton. They're playing Everton away at 3 o'clock. All right, talking of which, let's go through and give some Premier League predictions for the scores for the games across the weekend. We'll start with Arsenal versus Coventry on the first game on the Friday night, which I'm sure everyone will be watching. I'm going to go with Arsenal winning this by 3-1. I think Coventry might get on the board. I think Arsenal will have way too much for them. 3-1. Hull versus Man United. It's good we're playing Monday. Just watch all the games. Hull v Man United. I'm going to go with Man United winning this by... No, actually, you know what? I think Hull will get a point. I think it'll be a sticky start for Michael Carrick. And they haven't had a great pre-season. Mason Mount injured. Lost to Leeds. Okay, a friendly, but Bruno Fernandes missed a penalty in that game. 1-1. I think Hull will equalise fairly late on after United looked like they should score a second, and they don't. Everton versus Palace. 1-1 again, I think. I think Everton take the lead. Palace equalise. Ipswich Sunderland. I'm going to back Ipswich to get a win to start off their season. 2-1. Nottingham Forest versus Leeds. They got to play each other in the cup a few days later. I'm going to go with... that's tough. 1-1. So a couple of draws in here. A few draws, 3 draws. Brentford versus Spurs. That's tough. Heart over head. Or head over heart. I'm going to back Spurs to win 2-1. 2-1 to Spurs. Okay, now on to Sunday. Brighton versus Villa. Brighton at home. Villa have lost. They're going to lose. If they lose Watkins and Konza, there was someone who put up a tweet earlier from the Europa League final. Yeah, they would have lost almost half their team. Martinez going as well. I think teething issues for Villa. I think 2-0 Brighton. Man City, Bournemouth. Man City were terrible against Arsenal. Bournemouth are a good team. I actually think it's going to finish, would you believe it, 1-1. And then, we've got West Brom Burnley before that as well. Fantastic. That's going to be a busy Sunday of football. Basically 4 games you can watch across the day. Fantastic. Newcastle, Liverpool. 3-1 to Liverpool. And then Fulham v Chelsea. Got to do it. I'm backing Fulham to win this by 1-0. Come on. Um, 20th of September, we have Man United. So we'll lose Bassi to the AFCON qualifier against Madagascar on September 23rd. Well, after that, it's an international break. So after the United game, it's a 3-week break. So I don't think he'll be going early to prepare for that game. He will be here with Fulham. And if they're playing 3 days later, he probably won't have a part to play, or maybe he will. I don't know. But Fulham will not sanction him to leave um, for sure. That is for sure. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. Interesting that the club hasn't jumped on the Arnau Martinez deal, only 8 mil, and would be ideal player for the system. He is only 23 as well. Yeah, I mean, it is interesting, isn't it? It is interesting we haven't jumped on that, but maybe he's just not the target we want. We know we put in a bid for Bellanova over the weekend. I know he's more expensive, but he's probably the better player. So yeah, I think if we really wanted to do that deal, it would have been done by now, given the fact that Valencia have gone for a different target. Any chance you'd be interested in going through the hypothetical as to what would happen if we were to unfortunately get relegated? Who would be sold? I don't want to do that. The season's just begun. I don't want to start thinking about the worst case scenario. If down the line, God forbid, we're in that position throughout the season, maybe we could talk about it. But it feels incredibly negative to do that. One, I don't believe we're going to get relegated, and two, we will cross that bridge if we unfortunately have to come to that bridge. And I just, it would feel wrong to do that. I back the manager. I'm excited about the season. I don't want to say the R word in relation to Fulham at all, unless it's a reality. So maybe one for for the new year, but certainly won't be talking about that sort of thing at this moment in time. Whoa, Danny Hind, thank you so much. For some reason, oh, and another one as well, and it's just B. So thank you, B, and thank you, Danny Hind. This is honestly, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Really, really, really grateful. My phone usually gives me notifications when they get new subscribers in, but because of the sheer volume of people coming through the door, the phone has given up and it's just giving me email updates. I just could not be more grateful. And honestly, this has been a great stream, and really enjoyed previewing the Premier League season. For you to put your faith in me and subscribe, it just means the absolute world. And yeah, I'm really, really excited about the new season. Can't wait to record the podcast tomorrow. I actually don't know what shirt to wear. You know, everyone wears their own Fulham shirt. Me and Sammy spoke about it on Monday, and he was like, "Don't wear the new away shirt. I want to wear that one." Not in an aggressive way or anything. I just said, "Oh, that's fine. It's long sleeve anyway. It'll probably be too hot." Although apparently it's meant to rain tomorrow. Although we're filming inside, so that's good. There's no way that they hold a clean sheet on the first day. No, you never know. You never know. I've gone 1-0 because that would be for me the ideal. Well, the ideal result was to win 5-0, but to win 1-0, shut them out, get a late winner. Yeah, it would be fantastic. Would have to be a hot pole lock in after that one for sure. So yeah, let me know what shirt you want me to wear. I don't know. All my shirts sort of in like little collections, like color coded and stuff. So do you want me to wear an away shirt, a home shirt, a third shirt, an anniversary shirt? We will see. So honestly, yeah, thank you, Danny, and thank you, B, for subscribing, and everyone else who subscribed during this stream. It is an absolute joy, and thank you again to Mike from Fulham Brooklyn, who gifted 3 months sub this morning or last night as well. So I tweeted that out. It's a first come first serve. It's already been snapped up like that. That means that person gets 3 months free, and someone paid for him. I think it was Cameron who jumped on it, and they subscribed for 3 months. Hopefully that means that they like it and they keep subscribed for the rest of the season. I think it may be a bit of a struggle with the first 5 games, but in the end, I see teams like Hull, Forest, and possibly Newcastle struggling more. Also Villa. I know Villa have lost so many players. Now Newcastle. That B is Barry in Bournemouth, Jack. Thank you so much. Barry in Bournemouth. Thank you very much. And if you are at the Vitality this season, let me know and we can have a meet beforehand. And yeah, it'd be great to meet you guys. Like I say, meeting the subscribers and getting more people involved in their opinion, what they think is going to happen. Um, Post match reaction probably works better because it's got a bigger shelf life. What's got the best prem box? Oh, press box in the prem except for Fulham. Best press box. I mean, Spurs is great, but their chairs are like attached to the table, so you like sort of swinging around like your chair isn't sort of like unattached, I should say. But that was not really an issue. I do like Liverpool's press box. I wasn't there last season because of the timing of the game, um, but you're quite near the cop, which means you appreciate the atmosphere from there a little bit more. Certainly, when we drew 2-2 there, that was some game. I remember coming out with the most throbbing headache. I didn't enjoy Man United last season in the press box because of the result. There was also a fan who clocked I was a Fulham fan before kickoff and was just giving me pelters. I was bloody hell. I was sat right next to the fans. Um, I loved Wolves' press box, but they're obviously gone down. I like Bournemouth's. You're really close to the managers. That's good. Brentford's is okay, but you've got this like rain protector in the way, which is sort of hard. Well, if I was taller, then maybe it'd be easier. But Chelsea's a first come first serve. Arsenal is a bit annoying because you're really in amongst the fans. And obviously, when we were 3-0 down, that was awful. I feel like I'm missing an obvious one. Who's our first away game? Sunderland. Sunderland's good, but you're right up in the gods. Newcastle's good. They're all good. They're all decent. I quite like Burnley's as well, but they're down. Palace's is probably the worst. The view is not great. What's your hot take from the season? Doesn't have to be Fulham related. Oh, good. It doesn't have to be Fulham related. Right. In that case, I think someone asked me this like 3 weeks ago. I still haven't thought of a hot take for this season. Okay, my hot take. Is it a hot take? Probably not. That's not really a hot take either. You know what? I don't really know. They'll ask tomorrow at the podcast. By then, I would have thought of something, and even if it's not Fulham related, I'll try and get in that comment. Oh yeah, right winger. We've only been linked with Ethan Nwaneri as a right winger, to be fair, Jack. So that is the only rumor we've heard, and we're obviously not front runners for him either. So we're going to have to. Obviously there's going to be players we're going to be interested in and that haven't reached the press yet, haven't reached people sort of in the know and stuff. So it's just a waiting game. I wouldn't start panicking just yet. Not suggesting that you were, to be fair. God, we've been almost going for 2 hours here. Thank you very much. Still no comments from Twitter. Listen, fair play. Unless I just disabled comments from Twitter, which I don't think I did. We'll be at the Chelsea game on Monday. Great. It's going to be great. It's going to be good. Make the noise. I obviously, not everyone can stand in the Hammersmith End, and if not everyone can stand in the Hammersmith End, then at the front, if you do stand, then you're going to be in people's way. But it does feel like that sort of game where you could see everyone stand in the Hammersmith End, but I don't necessarily think that will happen. But that's obviously fine. If you're at the back of the Hammersmith End, hopefully persistent standing won't get penalised. So you go ahead. Back when the other guy said earlier, I live in the US and I've paid more for shipping than the actual shirt. Was $35 on their sale and shipping was about 40. That's crazy prices for shipping. I think I once bought a shirt from eBay and the guy was in like somewhere like out of the continent. And I think I had to pay an additional like 15 quid for post and packaging. But that's like the only thing I can sort of relate to. Wear the baby blue tomorrow, Jack? Oh, the LG. Is that the LG, Brian? I could wear that one. I could also wear the one, the Dabs one, but it's in long sleeve. Yeah, it's in long sleeve. So, okay, LG. I could wear that one actually. I think I wore it the other day to a barbecue. So it might. I'll see if I can find it. Obviously, my brother's got the Pipex shirt as well. He took to Boomtown, so I need to get that back off him as well. Um, so yeah, okay. I think we may have hit a bit of a 2 hour buffer here, where we've done this for 2 hours. I've given my predictions for the 10 Premier League games across the weekend. Personally, my Fulham hot take is the two Madrid boys will combine 35 plus goals assists. That is huge. I would love that if that happened. Monday's game is the 60th anniversary of my first match at the Cottage. Burnley, 1966, 0-0, hooked ever since. What a great story. That comes from Barry from Bournemouth. Absolutely fantastic stuff. 1966, the year England won the World Cup. Playing Burnley, 0-0. Sean Dyche ball, I'm sure, from Burnley. Yeah, that is absolutely incredible. I mean, met a fan last night who's been going since the 70s, etc., since the 80s, etc. It's great, and that's the sort of thing I want to do more. I want to hear more from fans who have been going, all the way back in the 60s, where they saw, the great Johnny Haynes, George Cohen, etc., etc., and all the way up to the modern era and how football's changed, VAR, technology, etc., etc. Barry, please do get in touch and we'll have a chat about it. It would be absolutely fantastic. Do you reckon our new sort of tactics with Alvaro will suit Chelsea's new style with their two sort of cams, Palm and Roger? It will be obviously, this is going to be something that I'm fairly scared about, because if we give the ball away in risky areas, they've got two central attacking midfielders. You'd imagine that Rogers probably plays on the left-hand side, and then they've got João Pedro, who just signed the new deal, up top. They scream goals to me, and as the comment said earlier, no way we keep a clean sheet. Be that as it may, fair enough. The more I think about it, the more I think we could concede, but I've gone with my dream scenario, which is a 1-0 win, etc. But yeah, that is something I'm very nervous about. Even Palmer coming off the right, maybe. But yeah, if they're essentially playing two down the middle as cams, we're in a whole lot of trouble, because we play a high line and we commit so many men forward. Maybe that might be a little bit more cautious now we're starting the league season. It was a little bit more sort of the pressure was off in the friendlies, but you would imagine that they're still going to push high up the pitch. Those two fullbacks, which will leave Berger and the two centre backs incredibly exposed, and you're playing against top quality opposition. The counter-attacking opportunities that Chelsea and any other team are going to have against Fulham, if they take them, that's going to be hugely going to be the Achilles heel for Fulham this season. However, if we've scored from our dominant play, if we've scored from taking our chances, by the time they do counter, which might not happen because we're playing much deeper to try and defend the lead, maybe those opportunities won't be so prevalent for Chelsea or for any other team. The key for Fulham is to score early, and score early means you can sort of just sit back and defend a little bit more, whilst not conceding the ball and conceding territory. You want to go for the second goal at the same time. You could imagine, a lot of Fulham games under Silva turned into a bit of basketball affairs at times, because Fulham were always pushing for a winning goal when we were drawing. You could imagine the same sort of ding-dong sort of games when Arbeloa is in charge, because of the philosophy, etc. But he also did say he wants to bring control to Fulham's game. Fulham have got to be controlled in possession. They don't want to give away sloppy passes. Any slack passing we've seen this pre-season has been punished as well, or has nearly been punished. Iwobi, you think of Iwobi against Crystal Palace for sure. So yeah, we've got to be really careful. And I think that the Stuttgart attack is nowhere near on the level of the attack we're going to face on Monday. We've got to be super careful about that. And hopefully we can get back in numbers and defend, because Bassey's got good pace. That's why you need pace in defence. That's why Anderson's not necessarily the first pick right now, because you need pace at the back. Cuenca, I think, is quick enough on his feet. Bassey's obviously quick as well. So yeah, it's going to be very, very exciting to see what happens. I do have a few more comments here. I'm not going to ignore them, so we'll keep going. Thank you to everyone who subscribed to Patreon tonight. It's been absolutely fantastic. I think 8 people have joined throughout this stream, which is fantastic stuff. And honestly, I couldn't be more grateful. So thank you again. 15 15 goals, 4 assists for Gonzalo Garcia, and Palacios with 6 goals and 10 assists. Could definitely see it, mate. That would be fantastic, and they would definitely be interest from other clubs. Let's say if that happened, and I'm sure we'd make a big old profit on those transfers as well. On Monday night, I'm going 2-1 to us. Hopefully, with VAR, Berg's header may have actually counted. Well, it's not even VAR, is it? It's goal line technology, which is even more simple than VAR, to be fair. But I obviously got your point. Yeah. So, can we get a bit of VAR luck on Monday night as well? I mean, you don't really think about it until the game starts, like a penalty or a handball or something to go our way, a red card like happened last season. Obviously, Cucurella has now moved on, thank goodness, as well. So yeah, it's going to be so exciting, and I'm really nervous. I mean, that's not a lie. I'm incredibly nervous about this game. So I wanted to know if we had a player. So let me see that again. I wanted to know if you had a player we haven't been linked with that you'd love to have been linked with, or maybe like to. I really like De Winter. Ah, plays for AC Milan. Coney De Winter. What position is he? Don't actually know what position he is. Defender. I mean, for what we need, goal scoring right winger for me would be perfect. Another midfielder for sure, but again, individual names are really hard to sort of, because obviously Arbeloa has his own certain targets and his own certain philosophy in terms of players he wants to bring in. I'm glad that he shopped in the championship market for Shea Charles. I'm absolutely delighted, and I wonder whether it was like more of a Tony Khan suggestion, but even so, it was a top signing. But yeah, someone in centre mid, like I said, Charlie Cresswell would have been absolutely ideal for Fulham. But also 8 Boudlau, I know we haven't seen tons of him play, but his profile fits what we need, and we need height in defence to defend set pieces for sure. Thoughts on the new sponsor? What is our new sponsor? Oh, it's I should know this. I mean, it's right there, isn't it? ClickHouse, yeah. I don't mind it. I'm not like a massive sponsor like guy. I liked AEW. I thought that was good. Chelsea's 18s lost their opening game of the season. Cobham next gen under 18s. I need to watch those older shot highlights actually from last night as well. I'll do that after this. And I really like the Royal Caribbean sponsor for the academy. It looks really clean. The fact that there's no writing on it, it's just the logo. Trent with the new links, as in Trent Alexander-Arnold. That would be good. Obviously wouldn't happen, but it'd be great. All right, guys, I think I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for tuning in. The guys on YouTube, you have been commenting all evening, and you've kept the stream alive and kicking. Really, really enjoyed this one. There will be a stream at some point on Tuesday, win, lose, or draw. I don't know. This is the sort of barrier I need to get past that I've been poor at last season when we've lost a game and my head's been on Mars. I've sort of been like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm not going to stream, but I think we have to do it. There needs to be consistency this season. And of course, you're going to have 3 games. Okay, actually, we'll probably have to stream in the Monday evening after Sunderland because I'm not back until the Monday. But then again, it is deadline day the next day. So I could leave it for Tuesday for deadline day. It'll be a part of what will be a mega stream. So there'll definitely be time to talk about the Sunderland game. And if we won, I'm sure we'll probably start with that as well. So that'd be great. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing to Patreon. Keep the faith, even though the season hasn't started. Ignore all the Fulham slander from those who think they know what they're talking about. We'll obviously see over the season whether they're right or not. I think Fulham are going to finish in 12th or about 10th to 12th. I think we're going to have a great season. Take care, guys. Thank you again. And we'll speak again Tuesday. And for those on Patreon, we'll speak tomorrow. Take care. Come on, Fulham. The season is almost upon us. Can't wait.